Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. It's time to take the global stories that has made it to the front pages of our national dailies. And joining us this morning is Kehinde Nwandu, is the editor of CKN News. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
All right, so we'll begin with, in fact, most of the papers have the same stories, which is obviously talking about, the parties and the defection. And
Let's
whatnot.
ask him to make a wish. Today is...
Okay, yeah. Today is Make a Wish Day. What is your wish today?
My wish.
Mm-hmm.
So Nigeria be better than it is. That's my only wish.
That's everyone's wish. That's everyone's wish. Amazing. And I hope that someday soon, it would not tarry, it would not be too long. We can look back and say, yes, we wished for this and it came to pass. All right, so the papers this morning. On The Nation, it says, defection of Oborewori Okowa to APC, a tsunami, says Shetima. The writer here says, 14 governors, senators, ministers received Delta's ex-PDP bigwigs and why we moved. They're talking about why they moved. On the Nigerian Tribune this morning, it says, we cannot face Tinubu in 2027 to work against him. That's according to the Delta State governor, saying why he moved. So explains why Delta cannot remain in opposition for almost 10 years. Mass defections of Delta PDP to APC, a political tsunami. That is according to Tinubu. I am not bothered by defection of governors to APC. That is according to El Rufai. And so, like I said, most of the papers obviously have this as well. On the Daily Trust, however, El Rufai is saying we can win without governors. And, he has spoken about the fact that they don't need the backing of governors to win. And obviously, if we see what happened in the last presidential election, Peter Obi did not have so many governors, under the Labour Party, but he still did pretty well, in the race too. So what's your take on this tsunami, as they call it? The fact that, Delta, almost everybody there has moved from PDP to APC, and they were known as a big, PDP state. They've been a PDP state for as long as possible, right? And seeing this defection now, what does that mean? I'm trying to understand what the governor even means by saying we cannot work against Tinubu, if we're in a different party. Isn't that the reason why they're supposed to be opposition parties, to ensure that, there are different options and, everybody have different manifestos on how they want to develop a place or their own state? What's your take with this mass defection?
Well, there's nothing new. That happened time again. Let's just not cast our mind not too far from where we are today, just about 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I think 2015 or 2014, when we had about 5 governors of the PDP defecting to the newly formed APC. I hope we still remember the days of NPDP. Mm-hmm. You still remember NPDP, led by Rume, who dumped their party, the People's Democratic Party, under the Goodluck Jonathan administration to join the APC. So it's not today we have seen that. Even, let's take it a bit back, after the 1993 general election by MK Abiola, his vice presidential candidate, Kehinde, dumped the party, dumped his presidential candidate, and joined the military regime led by Sani Abacha, which some people still believe is one of the greatest betrayals in our political space in recent history. So, governors or legislators or senators, House of members dumping their party for another party is no big issue. But the question, the basic for me, is that we run a politics, we have politicians with no ideology. All these politicians have no ideology. That is one. And the question I've always asked, what is the difference between APC and PDP? It's just by name. In those days, we used to say, we have progressive. How progressive is the APC? How progressive is the PDP? They just remove the name and just change it and all the same thing. If tomorrow Tinubu loses an election, the 27 or to another party, you see all of them jumping ship again from that party to, and they tell you, oh, it is for the good of our people, and you ask yourself, which people? One of the lines introed by the Delta State government governor is that we want to align with the center, and I ask, what is in the center? Tell me what is in the center presently. Is it the center where Nigerians cannot eat, where abject poverty is trying everybody to face, where the World Bank last week just released a report, damning report about the Nigerian economy, and saying that 2026, 2027 is going to be worse? Are you looking at the level of insecurity in Nigeria, where people are being killed in droves, in a plateau, in Benue, and most part of the country? Are you talking of a Nigerian that one cannot drive or enter a vehicle from here to Benin to Onitsha without fearing of being kidnapped? So when you talk about the center and I ask what center are we talking about, let me even ask them. Anyway, they may not know. They should ask their people in Delta State how their life are bettered between 2023 when this government took over and now, and they compare. So when you say you are aligning with the center, I just don't understand what they are aligning to. But I have to tell you for free that most of them are not. All those defectors have reasons. One could be that they have looked at it and believe that there is a possibility of not being re-elected in 2027. Second is the fact that most of them have skeletons in their cupboard. They are talking about the vice presidential candidate of the PDP, Ifeanyi Okowa, former governor of Delta State, who is now shouting hallelujah or APC is the best thing that happened to Nigeria after Agaji bread. They had a over 1 trillion naira fraud allegation against him by the EFCC, and he's facing that case squarely. So most of them are not. When you see them coming out to shout hallelujah, praise the Lord, you know that something is finished. And don't forget also that the former national chairman of the APC, the person of Agaji, said that once he joins our party, all your sins are forgiven. So they are going to mass. They are going to church to confess their sins. That's what they are, so that you'll be forgiven them. So there's nothing to celebrate. It is the same of the same, and you be rest assured that more have also been singing that praise that they will join. It is for their own selfish interest and not for the interest of the people that they govern. Because when they say they consult, you are from Delta State, they consult you. And that's the question I ask. If my governor decides today to move, the question is that they didn't consult me. They consult themselves and they take decision that is in the best interest, not in the best interest of the government. And that's the part.
On the Guardian newspaper, institutional fees, that's the leading headlines. 51 universities orders embroiled in illegal deductions from student loans. Extra charges institutions make on each NEL fund application or applicant displayed here on that front page of the Guardian newspaper. Even the education fund that has not entered some universities in Nigeria, the ones that have had the opportunity to start accessing them, are now taking too much charges for this. I'd like to hear your take.
Well, typical of Nigeria, I'm not surprised. I was one of those that are very skeptical about this issue of students' loan. Billions and billions naira being appropriated for the students in higher institutions. And just like what happened in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, I would not be surprised that a lot of those funds are being started by certain individual politicians and the rest of them. And it's even institutions of higher level. Most of them are not always querying how they come about, the names. And they say, oh, they have a portal, people go there to register and they're captured and they are sending money. Now you have seen what is happening, that even the institutions are deducting money from, and you ask, where is the place of check and balances in all this? This is not how it is done across the world, where you see students getting, being given loans. Don't forget, these loans are not free, they are called loans. They are repayable. Every individual, every student that is paid this loan is going to repay it when they graduate. And they are always about. So, a situation where they were giving loans were made available to them, then at the end of it, institutions are deducting and collecting and preferring those funds. At the end of it, the students will still end up. But come to think of it, when they say that institution, I thought that if you apply for loan, that the money would have been paid to the individual student's account to not be able to pay to the school. But from what I'm seeing, or from what I'm learning, that money is paid and brought to the school. Just send the name of the student and pay him the money. That in itself does not, it does not put for accountability. So we can only back, but no backing, no biting. Who are you going to send? The grab agencies or NEPO itself to be able to verify this? I totally don't believe in this cash out that we've always done. What we have always done, we become a country of handouts, where anything happens, the next thing we want to do is we want to say, student loans are very, very necessary. I totally agree with that. I know that there are so many students that are finding, their parents are finding it very, very difficult to be able to pay their school fees. I know of that. I know that then I asked the question, what happened to our bursary scheme? We used to have a bursary board in the past. I don't, if you understand what I mean, we used to have a bursary, there used to be a bursary board, bursary. Yeah. I remember when I was in university, when I was living in university, I graduated in 1990. In 89, I was given a bursary of, was it about 300 naira then, 300. All I did was go to my local government, get a certification that I'm from that local government, and I presented it, and the money was paid directly to me. I was not asked to repay it. In 300 in 1990 was so much money because my allowance as a youth corps in 1990 was 250. It was 150. They increased it to 200 naira, then to 250. So I left in 1991 earning 215 naira as allowance. So if I was given 300 naira as bursary then, that means 1 month allowance for me. So, but that was the bursary board. So you can't yourself. So what is the work of the Nigerian bursary board, whatever they call them? They will not have a left board that is starting with the responsibility of being able to start dishing out cash, and then they don't end of it all, we're getting ourselves in it. Of course, you can be rest assured that most of this money will be preferred by people, both institutions and even the agencies of government are supposed to start doing. So I'm not shocked, I'm not surprised. Dig into that, you see that so many other things will come out of that.
To put it in perspective, just for fun, is in 1991 when I went to Calabar to visit my brother, I paid 20 naira from my village to Calabar. Now it's 15,000 naira. So when he talks about 200 naira, you know how much money that is.
Yes, I thought about the value of that amount at that time, but now.
At that time, 200 was so. Let me tell you, I bought my first, you know that song, radio cassette. Like I said, I used to press spam and you put cassette inside it. Yes. It was, that was my first property in my entire life. I used my allowance, half of my allowance to buy it. And it was just about 100 and something naira then. You can imagine. A true musical set. So that was the value of money in 1990. My school fees then for a whole session was about 150 naira. The whole full session, 150 naira, that's what we're paying as school fees. When I was in university, I got to the university, I entered the university in 1986. So compare that to now, where people are paying millions as school fees, and the welfare of the lecturers are still not better.
All right. Well, let's look at another story here on The Guardian. It says 2027, INEC seeks law to strip president of power to appoint RECs, so residents electoral commissioners, and in come 2027, INEC is seeking this law. First things first, I would have thought that INEC needs to be independent, the president needs to be independent. In fact, the tiers of government, the arms, as they call it, of government, everybody needs to be independent, and I'm wondering why it was the president that had the power. But what do you think about the fact that INEC is looking to strip this off the president right now, come 2027?
Well, INEC cannot strip the president of the power. The only people that can strip the president of the power is the National Assembly. So if they enact the law removing the appointment of the president as the authority to appoint the INEC chairman, as well as the REC, the resident electoral commissioners and other commissioners, then it will be as the name is Independent National Electoral Commission. We started from Fedeco. I am sure my sister, you are very young, not of that. I don't think we ever had Fedeco. We had Fedeco in the days of chairman of INEC in the 80s. It would be a whiskey, and from there to Professor, what's this one that just died that conducted the election in 1993? Professor Umusu. We had Professor, the one they call Professor Ibu, and the rest of them. So, but the fact is that until we're able to find a way of making sure that the chairman of INEC is appointed by an independent body, the role of the influence of the president, the sitting president, what we also be having is that the INEC will be a department in Asoro, whose chairman will be doing the bidding of the president in power. So that is how it is. In other climes, it is not done that way. It has to be independent and independent enough. I probably feel that there should be a body starting with that responsibility. And just like we do with the judiciary or so, although the president also have some overriding authority also when it comes to the judiciary. When it comes to the judiciary, the appointment of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, it is only the NJC. Most of them are not recommend about 3 justices as it were. Then the president picked one from them. But that one is okay. But this one of INEC, our electoral body are so corrupt in nature that you see that resident electoral commissioners are being appointed by politicians and putting their colleagues and their brothers and sisters there. There have been instances where resident electoral commissioners are card carrying members of some political parties. Are you not aware?
Yeah. Very disheartening.
Anyways, we'll just see how it goes. I think a lot of people are waiting to see what happens in 2027. We're just keeping our fingers crossed. And there's a lot. It feels like every day something else is unraveling. Either there's massive defection, or now in this case, INEC, or you hear of the judicial system. There's a lot unraveling come 2027. But we'll just keep watching and waiting and hoping that in 2027 we can have something better to show for it. Anyways, this is how much we can take on this segment right now. Chris, we want to say thank you so much for coming. It's always a pleasure having you. Thank you for your time.
Arsenal is playing PSG. They were supporting.
That's right. I'm supporting Arsenal. I'm an Arsenal fan. And hopefully today we might just be one step closer, because it's the semi-finals, we might just be one step closer to getting that Champions League title of winners.
I hear you. I hear you.
Thank you so much. Hopefully. Thank you so much. All right, we're speaking with Chris Kehinde. Nwandu is the editor of CKN News. And we've just been taking the global stories that has made it to the front pages of our national dailies. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we're discussing our first hot topic that talks about NECO and WAEC having to have CBT, that's computer-based testing. So please stay with us.